And after that, I have a very special guest with me tonight, and we'll be right with you right after this commercial.
Hello, my name is Kathy Carizales, and I'm here to invite you to the I Pray experience here in person at 8023 Vantage Drive, Suite 313, or
Hello?
watch us on Facebook Live at SABWBTX. We are excited to pray for the needs of the city or our government, and we hope that you can join us, like I said, online or in person. It is the Lord's desire that we would spend time with Him and get His job done on earth. God bless you, and I hope to see you.
So there you see it. The coffee fields are still producing. It had an unusual rainy season. It was later than normal this past year in Rwanda and has affected the harvest. But we're entirely grateful that the Lord's hand is still on those coffee fields, and uh, produce is coming out of that for us. But tonight, our title is The Business and the Political Landscape. And I have a special guest with me in the person of Lena Prado. She is running for county commissioner in precinct number 1. But what a story. Two things we're going to be talking about tonight. Her what I believe will be a very successful bid for the precinct number 1 seat in the county. And we're going to talk about a business event that she's having coming up early next month, one that you don't want to miss. I'm going to be in the audience learning with you at that event. So let's say hello to Lena Prado. Lena, thanks for being with us tonight.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, it's more than a pleasure to have you on. I don't know how we met, but somebody introduced us.
It was State Representative John Lujan, one of his
Oh,
events.
yes. That's right. He introduced us. He told me, sing your praises. And before I met you, and then when I met you, I understood why he was singing your praises. I'm thankful to God that you are where you are and doing what you're doing. So let's talk first a little bit about your personal history. You have mastered the English language, but it was not your first tongue.
No, so I immigrated here when I was 7 to Texas from the Dominican Republic, and I only knew Spanish. So yes, English is my second language, or I want to say, my third, because, I did learn Tex-Mex, and I learned, so I dropped the y'all, and then there's a Texan there, so all in between, I
Look, Lena, I have some friends of mine at the Faith Outreach Center. I pastored the senior pastor there for 23 years. I remain as bishop and overseer, but I take some teams, lead some teams out of there into Mexico on missions trip, and they speak Spanish here just fine, but when we get into Mexico, they use a translator because
you're translating for the translator, right?
Right. So I understand the dynamics behind that language. Now, when you gave us just a thumbnail sketch of you coming to this country, that story was so compelling in our conference, SABWB conference last year, I think, or was it earlier? Yeah, it was last year. Tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah. So, and I want to tie it to what you were just presenting, the commercial about growing coffee. So I have a story there. So my family, on my dad's side, my dad grew up as a farmer, where he grew chocolate.
Okay.
In the Dominican Republic. So my dad's now retired, and he went back home, and he ended up, using all his retirement to go in and buy out all, the land that has been sold off to other people that were all family land. And he
Hmm.
was able to unite it back up again. And he
Wow.
is growing chocolate. So my dad's actually a chocolate farmer. So and he uses that as retirement. But the key there that I want to bring up is he could have just spent the money or just lived off. But the reason he does it is because he now employs a lot of the people that are in the area. Um,
Mm,
my dad's the type of person that if he cooks, his wife, she cooks, and whatever he eats, everybody that works for my dad eats.
yeah. Yeah.
Everybody is getting that same benefit. So he is having his worker comes, he gives them breakfast, he gives them lunch, sends them home, because he knows that the money that he's able to pay them is not enough for them to go feed their family, do everything. So
Mm,
he wants to take that burden away from them,
mm,
be
mm.
able to provide back to the community where he grew up and where he saw the biggest need. So he's giving it back. Right. So that's the
Yeah.
type of leadership and experience that I have had, that I have learned from.
Well, we'll discover during this talk tonight that the apple didn't fall very far from the tree where you're concerned. But let me ask, because he was actually here
Yes.
in the U.S. and then you and your mother came here.
Correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I was so intrigued about the story. I think other people
Yeah,
will.
so my dad immigrated to Puerto Rico, right, when I was
Mhm.
just one.
Okay.
He did well before I was one, and then he came back after, but he was able to get his papers, right, through working at the farm. So there was an amnesty that was passed, so he got his papers. My mom and I couldn't. It took a long process. So at the age of 7, my mom was sick. So we ended up immigrating through Mexico. So we went through Mexico and we crossed the border of Mexico. We walked through the border of Mexico.
Mm, mm,
Um,
mm.
whole ordeal from being, all the stuff, the horror story that they tell you. Granted, I was very blessed. Not all the horror stories, but some of the stories where you hear about people being held as hostage. So we
Mhm,
were held
mhm.
hostage for a few days, until my dad could find the additional money that they asked for ransom.
Wow.
And then before they actually delivered us, what I say we were blessed is it was just my mother and I, and we didn't experience all the negative pieces. Even though they
Yeah.
were holding us ransom, I didn't see that as a child, right? I was
Mhm,
being taken care of. They gave me food. They protected
mhm,
me. God
mhm.
was with us, and He literally protected us, because you don't hear those stories nowadays.
No,
It's
this is a wild story.
the same thing
Uh,
that is happening nowadays. So
yes.
I know from day one, right there, God was there protecting me, ensuring that I made it here safe. And then when we made it here in Houston, my dad told me, "Hey, you have an opportunity that not a lot of people get. You need to make something out of it."
Mm, mm. So you
And
came then with this already strong intent in your heart to make good on your trip here.
correct.
Lena, I think there's a lot of people born and raised here in this country who have forgotten,
Hmm.
have lost the zeal to make good on being here. So I think your story is exemplary in many ways. Because of that, a couple of things are going on with you. You, as I introduced you as one running for Precinct 1 County Commissioner, um, I believe God will give you victory in that. There's already some indication that some movement is a shift. Talk about that shift a little bit.
So first, you're completely right. The American dream is still alive. And like I tell everybody, I am still living proof that the American dream is still here. It is up to us who, still want to go and pursue it. The opportunities are still there. Takes hard work. It takes grit, dedication, all those key words that people mention. If you have it, you put it in place, you have an opportunity to become whatever you want. I took the path of going to a non-traditional journey and went into it, becoming an aircraft mechanic, which that was, a wild trip. And I went and worked very hard and continue. And I
Male dominated culture.
in a very male dominated culture, but I stayed my ground. I learned, I asked questions, I continued my education. My company paid for my education, and now I'm a senior leader in the same company that hired me 17 years ago as an aircraft mechanic. Now I'm leading all the supply chain for all of our government contracts across the US. So I have employees, our managers, and they have employees now that report to me, across the US. So that is the grit and the American dream
Mhm, mhm.
that I'm mentioning. But
I love this story. I just love it. That's why I wanted you to.
I
I
want
wanted
a story
I
that keeps
wanted you to
on
bite
giving.
a piece of it off for everybody else because I thoroughly enjoy it. I also want to. Your thirst for excellence has not stopped there. You now want to spread that through Precinct One. What's your marching orders for Precinct One? What can people expect from you?
So they can expect that same dedication and that same grit and hard work that I have, had my entire life. They can expect
Mhm.
that. I will work hard for Precinct One. And why this is important, why the decision to run for office. So to tell you the truth, I make pretty good money in the job that I have. I have a path of going to very high, and that has always been my journey, my 5-year plan. But God said, this is not what I want for you. He's sending me
Mhm.
in this direction, which is completely out of my comfort zone. And I don't play well out of my comfort zone. So, but I'm very goal oriented. I need to do this, and it has to take. This is the step
Yes.
I have to do. So this is out of my control, but one that I am taking and going by faith.
So you
And the reason,
feel called, not just you're not going for the Precinct One uh, county court seat because you don't have anything else to do, or that you are pursuing it for monetary gain or reason.
I don't know.
There's something transcendent. That's why we call this show Transcendent, by the way. There's something transcendent about your zeal, your desire to spread what God is doing in your own life.
Correct. So I have a beautiful children. I have a 1-year old and a 6-year old. So
Oh my
to tell
goodness,
you,
you're in the right in the middle of motherhood.
this is not the time for me to run for office. If you put all the little checks, right, this is not the time. I have plenty of stuff to do.
Mhm,
But I have been involved in my community way before I had kids. For over 10 years here in San Antonio, I have been involved in Precinct One, from starting a nonprofit that gives girls opportunity to learn about careers in aviation, where I give them scholarships, starting the Education Foundation here in the South Side, serving on multiple boards that just brings economic development to the Precinct One. I have been doing that for over 10 years. And I feel this is the time that I don't just do it out in the background, but
mm,
do it
mm,
at a bigger
mm.
scale, because
Yeah,
I don't feel that the leadership that we have there truly understand the
mm,
struggles that the people in this area are experiencing every
yeah.
day. Just I told you earlier before we started the show, I live out in the country. So right
Mhm.
in front of me, there is a sand road with a full neighborhood. And
Okay.
if somebody calls the ambulance, if somebody calls the fire department, they stand right there in front of my house because they
Mm,
cannot take that emergency vehicles to go provide aid to my neighbors. That is something that is personal. I see it every day. And across the precinct, we have over 20 roads and neighborhoods that are in the same condition as my neighbors. So I want to
wow.
be able to bring in that support and that experience that I have from the corporate world and be able to
Mm.
lead and be able to bring in the help and the support that my neighbors need. So it's
Well,
not
I'm
okay.
gonna go to commercial right here because I want to come back to you and talk about how specifically with an event coming up in August that you're exposing small business owners and people in the business community, business partners, to the kind of stuff that you'll be doing as the precinct chair for Precinct One. Let's go to commercial. We'll be right back. All right, I'm here in Rwanda, and we're up in the coffee farms right now. So I've been telling you about the upcoming Be Easy Coffee, organic, uh, premium coffee. And these are beans that I have in my hand. These are brand new beans. There's already a harvest already in place. These are just the early parts of the second harvest. And these beds that you see that are now empty will be full of organic premium coffee beans. And you have an opportunity to get a bag of Be Easy coffee for yourself. And we're going to work, of course, as I said before, on the San Antonio blend for SABWB. You'll be able to get your coffee mug and sip premium organic coffee. I told you it was coming, and it's on the way. Okay. Well, we're thankful that you took the opportunity to join us tonight. Those of you who are viewing, we're grateful for you taking the time to do that. Our viewership has markedly increased over the last month or so, and really thankful that you're making that happen as you participate with us tonight. Terry and Marilyn and Kimberly and all the rest of you who are on tonight, thank you so much for participating with us. All right, Lena, I wanted to dovetail our last conversation into this one as we talk about what's happening the 7th of August. What is happening the 7th of August?
So August the 7th, I am hosting the Lift Off Small Business Conference. And it's a conference where it's free to any small businesses in our area. And I'm just trying to bring in expertise to help our small businesses with growth, with just key things that they might not get on a day-to-day. They might not be able to sit down and just take that training or build that business plan or look at those tips that can get them the best revenue at the end of the year when it comes to taxes or other things. So I want to be able to bring in those resources to them. So those experienced people, just to help our small business. Because just to let you know, in Precinct 1 or Bear County, we have a high rate of entrepreneurs that are opening up new business. But at the same time, we also have a higher rate of businesses that are failing or closing their doors because they might be great at what they do. It could be, doing that best taco that everybody loves. And you think about, hey, look at those businesses are just doing amazing because their food is great, but then they're closing their doors. And why is that? Because there's a lot of other things. There's a supply chain. There is other administrative stuff that they are having troubles that nobody told them. Hey, this is things that you can do to prepare you for that. So I want to be able to bring those resources to our community.
I'm going to say something here that may be a bit controversial, but it's the church that I pastored for 23 years. I remain its bishop and overseer, but the guy, my associate that has been with me for over 30 years, is now the senior pastor of that church. It's predominantly Hispanic in its culture. It's sort of like a microcosm of San Antonio. San Antonio is a majority city, mostly Hispanic, secondarily Caucasian, thirdly Black, and then Asian. Our congregation is the same way. So it's like taking a little slice of San Antonio. What I have noticed, and I have mentioned this to many of my Hispanic brothers and sisters who are entrepreneurial, like wildly entrepreneurial, give them a just drop your hat. That's reason enough to start a business. And so they will begin a business, but I've noticed, as you have, that many times those businesses don't become sources for generational wealth. The doors are closed after it's run its course and served its purpose, then it just goes away. Those coming to the conference on the 7th of August, will they learn something different?
Yes. So a big piece is business planning and just the leadership mindset. That is the foundation of every business. If you don't have that good, solid business plan that you are adjusting every time,
Mm-hmm.
you are destined to fail. Because like we said in the corporate world, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
Right.
Right. So those are some of the tips that they're going to be able to bring in tools for them to be successful. But then it goes into how do you plan for retirement? We will have somebody there that talks about how to, even as a small business, how you can have a 401k, how you can set up a retirement plan for yourself or your employees.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to be a multi-million-dollar corporation to be able to set it up. And it's not going to cost you, so much money. Because if you think about it, in this, after COVID and after, this inflation, we have across the board, no matter what industry, you're having a shortage of employees. So retention is a
Mm-hmm.
problem. So what do you do as a small business if you're hiring if you only have 2 or 3 employees? What do you do? Well, you look at ways to
To
promote
retain.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to keep yourself viable. So, hey, providing, maybe you're a restaurant and you're providing them a retirement plan. That is uncommon. You don't see
Mm-hmm.
that, but you differentiate yourself from others. So those are the type of tools that small business owners will be able to learn. There's a lot of other things from bookkeeping. What are tips and tricks that you can do for bookkeeping? And you're able to, at the end of the day, a lot of businesses get stuck with, "Oh, well, now I have to pay all this money in taxes. So all my revenue is going to taxes." There is a small shop by my area where the owner owns his location.
Mm-hmm.
And he's having, with the new taxes that he's been imposed in the city of San Antonio as well as the county have added, he's having to pay between $4,000 to $6,000 in taxes. For him, what he's bringing in, that is already half of his income, because all he does is not a mechanic shop. It used to be. It's he does the state inspections. So
Okay.
that's like half of his revenue. So now he's losing half of his money to go into
Mm-hmm.
taxes. But what are things that you can do to be able to prepare you for success?
Okay.
Other There's other now there's some state and national requirements on how to register your company that a lot of people just don't know that they have to do both. So we're going to be bringing in the county clerk for Bexar County to talk about what are those new regulations
Wow.
to ensure that you are all set correctly and your company's registered correctly. So whenever you go out for business loans, when you're building, your business and being able to bring in grants or resources,
Mm-hmm.
you are adequately have the forms required and you're registered correctly to be able to do business. So I know I mentioned quite a bit, but we have a lineup of speakers who are just going to be able not only to provide information there, but they're going to be able to provide their contacts, so then you can set one-on-ones with them. So they're able
Mm-hmm.
to provide those additional resources that are tailored to your business.
Well, this sounds like to me that this is going to be something that a burgeoning business owner can't afford to miss. I'll be sitting in the audience with them, learning right along with them particularly as we get this coffee business and stuff off the ground. That there are some key structural things that we need to be knowledgeable of and to be able to flow in. So I really appreciate you doing it. It's free. How is it free? Because these things are not free.
It is not, but this is a community supporting the community. So all the speakers are coming in. They get paid to do this. They're volunteering their time to come and
Okay.
help others and their
So
members.
you pull together these experts from these field that has this knowledge. They're already getting paid to do it. So they're giving you some pro bono hours to sit in front of burgeoning small business owners and to give them the knowledge that they took college education and certifications and thousands of dollars to gain themselves. They're
Thousands of
giving it to the
dollars
community.
of free knowledge that you are getting for attending this conference. Like I told you earlier, my employees, I send them to conferences around the country so they can go learn tips and tricks so we can all improve and get better. I pay thousands of dollars for one employee to attend those conferences. I'm bringing the same type of resources to Precinct 1, so they can have the same resources to be successful free of charge.
Well, I hope the people in Precinct 1 are watching tonight.
I hope so too.
Because what you are bringing to the table is so valuable to them as a small business community, and it also allows them to see what kind of leader you will be as a Precinct 1 commissioner, county commissioner.
Yes, it's not about what can I get. It's public office. Being a commissioner, being a mayor, being a city council, it doesn't matter what party line you're in. It is having the right leadership in the locations that can do that job. For a county commissioner, you are managing a budget, you are managing different organizations, and you need a leader that has experience doing so. So for me, having a conference like this, bringing leaders to provide knowledge and bringing expertise, it is something that is second nature to me. This is what I do every day. I have that leadership experience. I'm able to go and put it in place, and I've already been doing it. I just need to maximize this to be able to take the desert of business away from Precinct 1 and to be able to support Bexar County as a whole. So if anybody that lives in Bexar County, no matter if you're in Precinct 1, not only can benefit from this, but can benefit from the changes that we can do to Precinct 1.
Let me ask you a couple of questions, and these are going to sound pointed because they actually are pointed questions. But you pointed out a couple of things in the current business environment that is not business friendly policies. In fact, there are things that are now going after the financial juggler of small business and making them pay much more. One, just philosophically, why do you think the American dream, which is the part of the American dream, is to be able to come here, formulate and incubate an idea that becomes a business that gives you the kind of lifestyle that you couldn't have gotten anywhere else? Why do you think that's is it being attacked, and if so, why?
So I think it is, right? And the reason why is because we're overtaxing everyone. We are putting processes or policies in place that are hurting our small business. So yes, at a state level, maybe at a federal level, everybody is trying to look at what they can do at that level and in the local level. So now you are impacting a business owner at 3 different levels just to be able to be successful, instead of streamline and look like what ways can we help that small business or the business in general, because at the end of the day, they are creating jobs, which those people that are going to those jobs, they're going to be spending that money within the community, right? They're going to be paying taxes. They're going to be doing all this thing. So we're still going to be able to get that funding. So you are putting constraints into those small businesses. What are they going to do? They're not going to hire people.
They're going to close their doors, is what you're discovering in District 1. They're going to close their doors because they have to close their doors.
Exactly. So then you have areas like the southern part or the rural area of Precinct 1, for example, where you have Sandy Oaks, you have Von Army, you have Somerset, and in the unincorporated areas of Bexar County, where now you have a desert of opportunities. So what happens then? You have kids that are graduating high school and they don't have job opportunities. So if they don't go to college or somewhere else, they either have to move away from the area for an opportunity, or if they stay in the area, now they are reduced to very limited options.
They're going to find some way to get the money. They're going to find some way to make it. And it may not be legal.
And half of the time, what happens then? Then they go lead to crime. So we have increased crime in those areas. And it's a circular thing. Less jobs, more crime, less opportunity, less growth, less wealth, built for the family. So now we have, a whole big circle of things that if we create one more job and we create it at the right location for somebody in that area to be able to have an opportunity, now you change the lifespan of that whole generation, whole family tree. It's not just that person. You're changing the entire family tree.
what I like about this so much is that you're not waiting on uh, some big corporation to roll into Pleasanton area, South Bexar County, and provide you with all of these jobs. You are gathering small business owners in that precinct and teaching them how to firm up their own business so that they can take on one or two more employees and grow their business. And as they do, their own neighborhood is made better by it. This is how we were built as a nation.
But another thing is that what you just mentioned there, not only you're building your own community, you're building those businesses, you're supporting those businesses, but also you're preparing your company. So whenever that big corporation does decide to roll up, right now, you're able to bid for those contracts because now you have this experience. And now, instead of them bringing in workers or supplying the work to other locations,
Right.
they can supply and start up suppliers within that community, right? That's the experience as a supply chain leader. That's some of the things that I look at. How do we bring in those small mom and pops suppliers within the area where the work is going to be done, so we can make sure that the money's not going to those big corporations that have the infrastructure, but how do we also give work to those communities in that area? But at the same time, we need that community in the area to be prepared, to be ready.
Folks in Precinct 1, do you hear the jewel of a leader that you have in Lena Prado? November is when you get to make your decision to get new face, new ideas, new energy into Precinct 1, and let your own communities take responsibility for themselves by opening, properly structuring, operating small businesses to become strong and viable in your own community and see that community transform. Now, I'll say this lastly to the body of Christ. It's leaders like Lena. Lena she's smart and beautiful and all that stuff, but she's a woman of God. Her faith is solidly planted in God's redemptive plan that he laid out in this to this globe through his own son, Jesus Christ. She is not an airhead. She's someone who is focused on what God has called and anointed her to do. And it's people like that needs to be seated in these places where the wisdom that God gives people like her can become such a blessing and an outflow to people like you and me. So her name is Lena Prado. She is in a bid for Precinct 1, Bexar County, and she's also having a called Lift Off Business event, August 7th. Lena, we never told the people where the business was, where the conference is going to be.
Conference is going to be at the Embassy Suites at Brook City Base, and it's going to be 8 to 2. We are providing breakfast, so get there early so you can register, get your breakfast, mingle with everybody. And we're also gonna provide lunch for everybody that attends. We're also having a person that's gonna be there.
Wait a minute. Free breakfast. A free lunch.
And free event.
And a free event, an over-the-top team to make sure that they have what they need in place to make their small businesses, even to open one or to strengthen one that's already open, and get it ready to become a source of generational wealth. Where do they sign up?
That's another one. If you already have a business or if you're planning on one, Inspiration for Life with Rita Hernandez is going to be there doing free interviews so she can help promote your business.
I know her. It's been a long time since I talked to her.
One of our sponsors, and she's going to be interviewing everybody that attends the conference, and she's going to be promoting those businesses within her magazine and also her podcast. So you're getting free advertisement. as well.
Oh, wow. So where do they sign up?
Sign up. You can go to my website. That's lina-prado.com. That's LINA-PRADO.com.
lina-prado.com, and you can sign up there and let them know you're coming, because they have to make adequate preparations for the meals, for breakfast and lunch and all of those things. It's on a Wednesday.
Because we need to make sure that we have enough seats, that we have enough food. So make sure you register early. So just go and register and make sure that you let me know you're coming.
lina-prado.com. So I'm registering tonight, Lina. I was on my calendar already to be there, but I'm going to register tonight, and we get on before Marilyn and Kimberly and Terry and Donnie and well, before all the rest of you get on there. I'm going to get on to make sure I have a seat. August 7th. It's on a Wednesday.
Everything's free, but you have to register.
Yes. And it's on a Wednesday, 8 a.m. to 2.
One thing that I do ask, I tell everybody, if you're coming, bring me a backpack with some school supplies. That is one of the things that we're collecting, school supplies, and we're going to be.
I like the layered effect. Yeah.
Yeah, bring some school supplies, whatever. You can bring one, or you can bring as many as you want. But we're going to be giving those school supplies to a neighborhood by the Quintana area, where it's one of the poorest zip codes in our county. So we're going to be providing some free supplies to that school, that zip code area.
August 7th, lina-prado.com.
Hello, my name is Kathy
Go on, get your
and I'm
stuff
here to
in
invite
line.
you to
I'll
the
be seated in the audience with you. It's
here
this
in
kind of
person
leadership
at
that moves our city
8023 Vantage
ahead.
Drive.
And remember,
Suite
if you're in the precinct,
313.
what's the boundaries for precinct 1?
Precinct 1 goes from Culebra south all the way to 211. It turns all the way south to 37. So it takes out of south downtown, and it's the largest precinct in Bexar County.
It's the largest precinct in Bexar County. Well, that precinct needs new leadership, and Lina, you will provide it. I can't thank you enough for being on with me tonight. I really appreciate it. God bless you. We'll see you on the 7th.
Thank you.
All right, folks, you heard it. You heard it right here at Transcendent, an event in the business community from an emerging governmental official. You heard about business from an emerging governmental official. I don't want you to in that precinct. Lina Prado, LINA-PRADO.com. Make sure you sign up there. All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining Transcendent tonight. We'll see you again soon. God bless you. Love you big. Bye-bye now.
Bye. Have a good one.